Can we just step back a bit from this argument in the business of whether schools should be forced to become academies? Is Labour still enthusiastic about the concept of academies?
I think we have to look at parents' and children's interests, and really whatever a school is, whether it's an academy or a community school, what really matters is it performing for parents and children. And that's why this idea of forcing every school to become
No, I'll come
an
on to
academy
the forcing
is
in a minute.
nonsense.
That's not what I asked you. I mean, that seems to me, I hesitate to say this, but your party started it. Academy started under the Labour government.
That's absolutely true. True.
It doesn't sound to me, from what you've just said there, that you're very enthusiastic about the concept anymore.
Look, when academies came in, they came in at a time to support schools that had had a history of decades of perhaps not delivering for their young people. And it was a radical solution to a radical problem. And it worked in most cases. But what we then saw is a situation where the new government, the coalition government, made it possible for any school that wanted to become an academy. So schools that need to become academies, schools that want to become academies, have already got that situation in place. Well, so those schools that are performing good or outstanding, why should they be made to become academies and distract all their energy, spend £1.3 billion of public money on it? This seems to me a wrong set of priorities at a time when we've got real issues.
And I'll come on to that, but you're getting off the point I'm trying to get you to address. Is it your view now that Labour, that you should stick to only those schools that are in trouble should become academies and the rest shouldn't? Because that seems to be the implication of what you said.
No, not at all. What I'm saying is we've got a mixed estate now. Some schools are academies, some schools are community schools. Let's not get worked up about the structure of the school, the name above the door. Let's say all of these schools are welcome within the situation.
Will you bring academies under local government control again?
I think there needs to be local government oversight and accountability to local communities, because we see a situation, we had this week, where many parents couldn't get the school of their choice for their son or daughter, and that's a very difficult situation.
Well, that always
we need
happens.
better. It always happens, but it's getting worse under this government's watch.
Well, 88% of parents got their first choice. That's quite high.
Yeah, but that's a lot of parents still that didn't, and we need better school place planning in order to make sure that the places are in the right place. What we've got at the moment is a government that's creating schools in places where they're not needed and not addressing the problems in places where the schools are needed. And I think that's just irresponsible and a waste of public money.
You've described, or at least I think Labour has described, the idea of forcing schools to become academies as privatisation of the school system. How do you work that out?
Well, I think we should, we can go down a lot of ideological, table tennis on this, or we can focus on children and parents.
But is it privatisation? Is it privatisation or isn't it?
Well, it does move towards a marketisation of the school system, but really that's a bit of a distraction.
Or isn't it?
Well, you'll need to ask the people that are doing that, because we still haven't got an answer from
it's your party's
Nick Gibb
claim.
No, look, we still haven't got an answer from Nick Gibb or Nicky Morgan or the Prime Minister of why they want to force all schools to become academies. That's the question. Otherwise you're distracting a lot of attention of parents, teachers, head teachers, onto things like the sort of thing we saw this morning, where the Key Stage 1 test, a lot of effort and work has been put into that, and then it goes pear-shaped at the last minute because the government has not got its act together. So why go down these?
66% of secondary schools in England, this only applies to England, are now academies. Isn't that the clear direction of travel now?
Well, what the government is saying is that all schools should become academies. What Sir Michael Wilshaw said about a month ago wrote to the Secretary of State and said 7 large academy chains were failing and asked the Secretary of State to do something about it. So what we should be doing, we should have systems in place to address failure, whether it happens in an academy or in a maintained school. And that's the key issue to focus on, not to say that every school must be an academy because we like that name above the door. That's ideological nonsense.